year 2018, but that's not where we're going to stay very long, ladies and gentlemen. We're headed back to 1933, and as I often need my own type of test runs, it's very, very fitting that tonight's solo adventure, with a special guest star, actually involves one of our very own test pilots in that respect, and that is one Caitlin O'Callahan. But before we get to her, I'd like to do a brief explanation on what these bonus episodes are going to grow to be. The bonus episodes, for those of you that are fans of comic books and their origins in the pulp comic world, I grew up on comic books, so whenever you would have a team, the X-Men, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, sometimes they would have their own comic books, Captain America, Iron Man, Wolverine, and when they would go off and do their own adventures, they may or may not play into the overall or the arcing story that's going in. In our case, it will every time, but it will be, whenever we have a bonus episode, more likely than not, it'll focus on one or two of the characters to promote a specific part of the narrative. At times, I will bring in guest stars that will guest star in this episode of the Solo Olympians comic book. That's something that we're going to have happen tonight. But tonight's primarily a story about a crossroads for Cait, since hence the name of the episode is Cait's Crossroads. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce Cait, played by our own Allison. Allison, I think they can hear us. It's 2018, but it's 1933, and tonight is not a will you survive another day in 1933. Today is, will Cait survive another day with the Olympians?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Hey, everybody, it's Allison, and I'm playing Caitlin O'Callahan, aviatrix extraordinaire, princess of the skies, America's flying princess. And she is back from Bolivia with some big questions about whether she really belongs with these quote unquote Olympians. And if she does, whether she wants to stick around. So kind of eager to see where that goes myself here, Greg.
I'm on pins and needles myself. I want to see, I want to know, I want to hear, I want to see exactly where we get to. But to set everybody up with the backstory, we, the Olympians, the audience, chat, and everyone, we have just arrived back on the Ugly Duckling from Bolivia. The Olympians have dispersed back into New York proper, with the exception of one Olympian who has stayed behind. And Allison has gifted me with a fantastic story of what Cait did when they landed on that airstrip. And I would like Allison to take it away. Tell us, what has Cait done since the touchdown of the Ugly Duckling?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Cait kept to herself for that 2.5-day journey back to New York from Bolivia. In fact, she hardly left the cockpit of the Ugly Duckling. When she did, it was only to sort of briefly join the others in the passenger compartment to allow Dr. Greta von Krauss, our new German friend, to change her dressings. You may remember she was wounded before she left for Bolivia and then got shot again while she was there. So that was really the only time she left and was silent for the most part outside of common courtesy. So when the Duckling lands in New York, it's very late, and the darkness sort of serves to cover the transfer of the artifacts that we gathered, the Tyrannish, who we were all surprised to find out was not an artifact, but apparently a person sleeping, unconscious, something. Into the hands of Jack's people. And as the other Olympians dispersed, Cait chose to stay behind. She told them that she wanted to keep an eye on the transfer of the artifacts, that she needs to do post-flight checks. Her co-pilot, one of Frank's men, Franklin, or Jack's men, Franklin, offered to help, of course, but she sent him home. And so when Jack's people left and she was by herself, Cait actually climbed back aboard the Ugly Duckling. She pulled the hatch closed behind her, and she made her way above and behind the cockpit of this big flying boat that they've been using to the radio navigation station. She reached down under the navigation table and folded down a narrow bed that was built into the fuselage of the aircraft there, and pulled off her flight suit. She changed her own bandages following the instructions that the doctor had given her. And then, if you're watching closely, you'd see that she sat down in the low bed and she sort of reached up to the radio and turned it on and turned it to a particular frequency. It's the frequency that's used by her team back at Parsons Aeronautics in California for flight test. Now, of course, there's nothing on the frequency. They're thousands of miles away. But she seems to listen intently for a few moments before laying back on the bed. Before turning off the light, she pulls her .45 from its holster, lays it on the floor within easy reach. And she's up before dawn the next morning. She's scrubbed and ready for the day
Allison?
by the time
Allison?
Yeah.
That is beautiful, but I would
Is that
like
enough?
to... No. That's beautiful, but something happens. As Kate is drifting off to sleep, maybe her eyes still lingering a bit in the darkness as they transition, and as she's kind of putting the .45 beside her, they linger for a bit, maybe on the radio, and in the back of her mind from a couple months ago, while it's not anything that's happening currently, but it's that kind of state between dreaming and awake when it crackles. And while nothing is happening in this date in 1933 and 1932, she hears the crackle and she hears the voice of HG as he comes through, and she hears the Kate, land. Can you hear me? Land. And she drifts off to sleep. And as she is sleeping, we see as the keeper is wont to do, take some liberties. We see a remote test facility in the California plains. And we see the sleekest of aircrafts, perhaps not as decorated with iconography and painted to perfection as we know her in 1933. But in 1931, Calamity Jane is a new ship. She is the fastest thing in the air, which she still is in 1933, which is saying a lot in an age of industry and innovation. And at this moment, we, the audience, the keeper, anybody that's watching at this appointed time, sees this sleek craft touch down in the desert. And as it lands, the camera, if you will, pans, and there is the epitome of youth. This handsome man with thick black curly hair kind of waved up in a half pompadour, but more of just, it's natural. He's just handsome and his hair just goes that way. If somebody wants a point of reference, he could easily be the brother of Howard Stark, or maybe Tony in his youth if Tony were born in the same age as Howard. He has the beginnings of a pencil mustache across, and he's got thick sand goggles on so he can watch with the blowing snow. A white dress shirt on, no tie, open 2 or 3 buttons, which is not the norm and very inappropriate for the day. And as Calamity Jane touches down, this kid is punching his fist into the air, and he runs over, clipboard thrown into the air as a couple mechs look on, and he runs up, and Jack Parsons greets Caitlin O'Callaghan as she leaves the plane, Calamity Jane. And he says, "My God, Kate, did you see it? You had to see it. You were in it. 750 horsepower is easy."
I did more than see it. I felt it, Jack. Oh my God, I've never felt that kind of power.
Radio engine. Wait till they get a load of this. You're gonna fly circles around them. Lindbergh, or the rest of them. Oh, Kate, you're gonna put them all to shame.
Well, let's not put the cart before the horse. We got a lot more testing to do on this bird. But Jack, I tell you, I've never flown anything like this before. She is, I mean, I almost feel like she's a part of me. That's strange, but it's just like she anticipates what I want to do before I even do it. This is an amazing ship, my friend. I'm in awe.
Well, she's yours. From here and forever, you take her with you. You bring her to me whenever she needs tuned up. She's yours, Caitlin O'Callahan. I'd never put anybody else behind the stick.
She's just silenced for a second. And then after a beat, she just jumps and wraps her arms around him and kisses him on the cheek. And as she pulls back, she's got tears on her cheeks.
He returns the embrace full on, and as the camera pulls back from the scene beside Calamity Jane, as the wind whips the California sand and dust, he punches his fist again into the air, and as the last of the wind passes by, we hear one more thing come out of Parsons' mouth. 750 goddamn horsepower! And Kate wakes up. Kate, tell us about what else you do.
Do I have to? Can we just keep on with that dream? Because that's pretty damn fantastic.
Right.
If y'all haven't figured out, Kate is basically who I want to be in life. If I could just... Anyway, yeah. So she does wake up. She wakes up early, as she always does, and she is scrubbed and ready for the day by the time personnel at the airfield even start showing up for the morning shift. The meteorologist is a little bit annoyed to find her waiting outside his office, tapping his foot when he arrives, but he accepts her offer of a cup of hot coffee in exchange for a quick weather briefing, which Kate needs to be able to file a flight plan for later in that day. So after getting the briefing, she heads back to the Duckling, back up to the navigator's station, and on the table she lays out some maps and some other papers, and pours herself a second cup of coffee, and she's beginning to prepare a flight plan for later in the day, perhaps to leave New York.
It's not long after she gets back and she's kind of into the preparation phase, and just, it's more, all of us being fans of this role-playing universe know how much fun prep can be. And I wouldn't doubt that a trip around the world, thank you for the follow, welcome to the potty, pal, that this type of planning is just as exciting, knowing that you could be the first to do something and perhaps the fastest to do something. Kate, Allison, I'll also let you know that Kate received a crit success from my man Crit Dice Gaming, so keep that in your back pocket, and you can carry it over to the main game as well, should you not use it tonight, but you can pocket that and have it. As she is sitting there planning, Kate hears a knock on the outside of the Ugly Duckling.
Well, yeah, come on up.
The side opens up, and in walks the Stetson-wearing Jack, the handler, if you will, some might say the mastermind of the Olympians. We have portrayed him as Clark Gable. I will do my best to give you some Jack. He walks up, and without saying hi or without really making eye contact with Kate, he walks up to the table where she's working, and he looks down at the maps and the charts, and he says, "You'd have showed them all, Miss Callahan. I'm not certain much these days, but of that I'm stone sure."
As he comes in, she kind of looks up and just fixes her eyes on him and then says, Well, I wondered when you'd show up. Another hour and you'd have missed me, Jack, but you probably did know that, didn't you? Probably know where I'm going too, don't you?
No, I don't. May I sit?
It's your plane.
No, the Duckling told me as soon as I walked in. I looked around and the Duckling said to me, "You get out of here, old man." I got my pilot. I fear if I put anybody else behind the stick, it would, she'd shake it right off of her little duck back. And this is eerily reminiscent to what Jack Parsons said to you with Calamity Jane. But he looks over and he says, well, your other plane, your Calamity Jane, Parsons was here. He outfitted it the way you wanted it outfitted. He flew in on the fastest goddamn craft I've ever seen. He hopped out with 3 of his mechs and went to work and was gone in a couple hours. It's the damnedest thing. He did all the work himself. It was just him and his mechs and the guards, and Einstein. Einstein came out and sat there and talked to the guard said he never let a moment go by he wasn't talking your man's ear off. He asked him about settings and switches and why he did this and why he did that, and you should know that your man humored him and answered as many questions as he could. And, he never stopped working, though. God said he drank like a fish the whole time as well, so you might want to, I'm not saying anything about him, but you might want to just check and make sure all those bolts are tight on Calamity. I'd ask you not to leave, Kate. I'd ask you to stay.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate all of it, Jack, but I'm out. I just don't think I ever should have been in, if I'm being honest. I mean, you've debriefed the others about Bolivia, right? I mean, you know the truth. If it were not for the timely appearance of Dr. von Krauss, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Damn it, Jack, you didn't even know that she was in South America.
I did not. I don't know everything. Miss O'Callahan, we are running behind a great beast. The great beast is not slowing, and we are not getting any faster. I'm giving you all the information that I have, but Bolivia was... they're calling it a success because we got the Tyrannish and Dr. von Krauss, but I think you and I both know he was a shit show. Dwight would probably tell you the best, that he would stay quiet, but if he was the talk among the enlisted men, would call it just that, a clusterfuck or a shit show. We need you. I think you need us.
Well, look, Jack, this is twice. Twice you've sent us into situations that should have killed us all. And either you knew that and you sent us anyway, or you didn't know it because you don't have enough eyes out there or because you're not looking in the right places. But either way, I'm not sure that's the kind of enterprise I want to be involved with. And that's to say nothing of, I mean, I suppose Mr. Sawyer can handle himself just fine, although after what I saw in that tomb, I've got some questions. But Miss Ives, well... And Kate just goes silent. She's back down on her maps for a few moments.
For the first time, Jack takes off his Stetson and he kind of drops it over your charts. And he sits there, and for a moment you realize that while you knew he was older, he's really starting to show his age. And he sits and kind of leans his head back against the fuselage of the plane. And without making eye contact with you, he says, "Do you know that there are more Olympians?"
I would hope so. Mm-hmm. I would hope that the four of us aren't all that's standing between this country and everything I've seen out there.
Well, there was they come in all shapes and sizes. Miss O'Callahan, some of them are not fit to fight the war that I'm asking you all to fight. There was a little boy, 5 years old, could stack blocks with his head and not with his mind. He would just think about it and they would stack up in front of me. I saw it with my own eyes. There was a 78-year-old Polish woman in Allentown. She could Read a 400-page book, 10 minutes. Remember every detail from it. House was full of them, stacks and stacks of books. She called me, and by the time I got there, her house was burning. They fished her body out, but I already knew. I wasn't too late to save her. I was too late to save her from them. She's alive somewhere, probably wishing she was dead. Couldn't save the little boy either. I'm always getting information just a bit late. I told you there's a beast running, and we're too far behind. My hope is that you all will catch us up. Every time I hear about one of you all, and we're looking ourselves now, every time I hear about one of you all, it's always the same. Hitler's always wants one of you. He wants you captured alive. Dead, if possible, at the very least, bring back the body. But he wants you alive more than anything else. That's the missive. That is the communiques that we receive from Berlin all the time. Miss Ives, alive. Mr. Sawyer, alive. This little 5-year-old boy, alive. This Polish woman, alive. All of them are the same, Kate. Every report. Except one. It's yours. We found a missive written in what we believe to be Hitler's own hand. And it says, loosely quoted, "The woman known as Caitlin O'Callaghan is to be killed at all costs. If the choice is between capturing one of the specials or killing O'Callaghan, her death supersedes all others and all other orders. If possible, the body is to be destroyed." And I have no idea why, Kate. I don't know why the most powerful man in the world fears you. But I'd be lying if it didn't make me feel a little bit warm inside.
Jack, I'd be lying if it did make me feel a little bit warm inside too. But it makes no sense.
None.
It must be some kind of, I don't know, some kind of trying to mislead you or steer you in the wrong direction. Jack, I'm not like them. I'm not like Miss Ives, and I certainly can't stack blocks with my brain. I'm fairly decent in the cockpit of an airplane, but that's about all I'm bringing to this. I'm bringing to this show.
I don't believe that. Hitler wouldn't be scared of one pilot, even you. He would just send 1,000 pilots after you. And you're good, Miss O'Callaghan, but you're not 1,000 to 1 good. Well, maybe not 1,000 to 1 good. Something else. If you leave, Hitler will do everything he can to go for you. I don't know how to make you believe me, Kate, but I think you were right. 2 times I sent you into a situation where I didn't have the full knowledge and I wasn't there to help you make a different call. The team needs a leader, Kate. Somebody that's
You're damn
there.
right it does.
And I think Hitler knows exactly who it's supposed to be.
You gotta be joking, Jack.
I am not. I want you to believe me, Kate, and I don't want there to be anything between us, so the only thing I could think of was this. And he goes over to the side of the duckling and he opens the door, and there, silhouetted in the early morning light, is one Sabella Ives. And I will Bring in Sabella. There she is.
Damn you.
Uh,
Hi.
well, welcome, Lauren, Sabella. Jack extends his hand for you to help you up into the ugly duckling. You may take it if you wish.
Hey, Kate.
Good morning. Good morning, Miss Ives. How are you today?
I am feeling a little calmer now that I see you here. Jack was not forthcoming with the details as per usual,
Mm-hmm.
but when I saw the airstrip, I just knew I missed you. You know, I still have your spot at the store. I'm feeling much better, so you don't need to worry about me. If you were worried about being close to me, I understand.
Well, no, that wasn't it at all. I just had I had some things I needed to take care of back here, and it just got a lot later than I expected it to. So I just bunked down here. You know, I'm pretty comfortable up here in the cockpit.
What are all those charts down there?
Well, and Kate at this point looks over at Jack. Um, with a look that's fairly blank, but if he could read minds, he'd sense a little bit of anger here. Uh, uh, well, these are navigational charts, so just for plotting flight plans.
Oh, do we have our next thing we're doing? I really am feeling much better. So if we need to go right now, Kate, if that's what you want to do, I will be right there with you. Just tell me where, but maybe don't tell me where. But I trust you that we're going where we need to be.
Well, no, we exactly got haven't exactly gotten new orders yet. I was well, I guess I was thinking about maybe just taking some time away on my own for a little while. You know, we just kind of made some modifications to Calamity Jane, and I need to take her out and test her a bit. It's going to be very strange with all of that weight in the front of the wings at this point.
Well,
You
how
know,
long is that going to take?
Miss Ives,
Hmm.
I don't believe either of you trust me.
Why
is-
would you think that, Jack?
I don't know. Maybe I'm psychic.
Oh, darn it, I accidentally laugh out loud when I didn't mean to. Oh, damn it.
So, and Jack takes off his suit coat and he rolls up his sleeve. There's only one way that you all are going to trust me. Kate trusts you. You trust Kate. I need you both to trust me. And he puts his hand out. And then he pulls it back. And he says, under one condition.
Mm-hmm.
Both Kate, Miss O'Callahan, and you, Miss Ives, must agree that whatever you see, Miss Ives, stays between us except for this. That I'm telling the truth about the Olympians, about Kate, that I have held back nothing when it comes to you and your group. Anything else, that remains between us.
Sabella looks at Kate and kind of is a little twitchier than usual about it because she has been very much just kind of locked herself away after the events of Bolivia and tried to. She's very anxious about doing this and about getting information in general. But I think, yeah, she's just pausing and kind of fingering the tips of her gloves, which she has worn every single moment that she could recently. Just looking back and forth.
Yeah, as she does, Kate is quiet for a moment. And then she says, Sabella, I'm thinking about leaving. And I'm not thinking about coming back. Jack tells me that that Mr. Hitler himself has marked me for death, which I still find ridiculous. Nevertheless, he's got to catch me first, and he's got to find me. And I just think maybe there's a lot of places that I can go that maybe he'd have a hard time. And maybe I could stay ahead of him till somebody out there takes care of him. You know, you could come along maybe, and then maybe you wouldn't have to worry about it. Maybe you wouldn't have to worry about any of this at all. I don't know. I just...
Kate, I think even with the two of us, eventually you're going to get tired and need to rest and want to rest and be a person not running away. And I don't think they'll care or need to do that.
Well...
And you can't go anyway. Would this help you stay? Don't leave me alone with the rest of them. They think I'm a sideshow freak half the time, I think, but you don't look at me like that, so maybe I'll do this and it'll make you feel better, okay? Yeah. Just pulls the gloves off real quick.
Jack looks over at Kate. It's your call, Miss O'Callahan. And he puts his hand out towards Sabella.
As Sabella's reaching toward him, if that's where this is going, Kate says, "God damn it, Jack, you bastard. No, Sabella, don't. There's no need." And then...
Is Sabella's hand still out?
Uh-huh.
Jack grabs it.
Bastard.
Damn it, I hate him so much.
Damn it, I know it.
I hate him. Wait, he's our ally.
Allison, I'm going to need you to mute your earphones.
Don't leave me.
Wait, sorry, you broke up for a second there. What was that?
I'm going to need you to mute your earphones.
Just wave at me when you want me back, honey.
Yeah, we're
I will.
we're getting some personal time.
Right. Okay, so Sabella, Miss Ives, as soon as he grabs your hand,
Cheater.
I'm going to give you the mechanics of how this is going to work.
Okay.
You are able to continue your vision for as long as you want. And what I'm going to do is I am going to give you one sequence of events and a hint at what would be there if you were to push. Okay?
Okay.
It is up to you whether or not you want to do that.
Okay.
I will also tell you this. As your keeper, as soon as Sabella enters into this field the first time she has since Bolivia, there is no trace and no hint of Dietrich or the pressure or the feeling or the shadow that she felt of Dietrich. It's gone. It's like it was before.
It's creepy.
Okay.
So is that worse?
So as soon as Jack grabs her hand and kind of like laces fingers with Sabella, you see pictures and copies of orders for Hitler, calling for and commanding for Kate's death. you see something that appears to be penned in Hitler's own hand that says what had been relayed to Kate earlier, that she was priority number one to be destroyed, killed, and the body destroyed if at all possible. That mission, that command supersedes all others, and you are reading it as if you are Jack looking at this picture, and you notice that Jack's hands are trembling as he reads it, as if you're looking through his own eyes at his own hands. Now, as you're looking there and you're lingering for a second, you see your own name on a report. And this is where I will ask you, do you want to go further?
Yes, Mr. Keeper, I do.
Okay. So as you proceed down this memory, and this is more of you're not sure this is an exact sequence of events, but it's putting them together, and it's filling in the cracks. Everything that Jack has told you to this point has been true when he has told you. The Bolivia mission, the USS Akron, he believed all of his intelligence to be up to date and accurate. Of course, it changed while it was in the field, but he had no idea that had transpired. What he knew, he told you. He has lied about nothing. Now, when you see this form come up, Sabella Ives, it is another communique that has been intercepted from Germany. And you'll notice, as you read through this in a very technical, very Spartan black and white way, it calls for your capture, it calls for testing, genetic mimicry, and brain dissection. It has very intimate details of your everyday life, of the Ives Esoteric and Antiquarian Bookstore, and there are photographs of you entering, talking to Ezra. Normal life outside of your little shop in the Lower East Side, and it's so unnerving. I'm going to need you to roll a sanity check.
Okay.
Now, everybody. Okay, so you succeed. Now you are through everything that has to do with the surface memories of the Olympians, but you start seeing flashes from farther back. It's flashes of the Great War, and you see Jack in the Great War. Do you want to press forward?
Yes, Mr. Keeper, sir, I do.
Okay.
I'm nosy.
So as you press forward deeper into this memory, you see Jack, a much younger Jack, running across a field of no man's land between two trenches as bullets and explosions are whizzing by him, and you see him rush up towards a boy, no more than a boy, who has had his leg blown off, and you see him grab him by the collar and start pulling him back towards the lines. And as he's running, people are screaming, "Jack, come back, Jack!" And as he's pulling him back towards the trench, another soldier jumps out of the trench to help him, and Jack waves him back. "Get back, get back!" And before the soldier can get to them or retreat back to the trench, his face explodes as a sniper from across the line hits true. I'm going to need you to roll another sanity check since you just saw that happen.
Fail.
Okay. Okay, that's one sanity loss on that one, because now you see the war flash by, you know a little bit more of Jack, and you see a little boy that has Jack's eyes, and he's sitting there playing with blocks. Do you want to push forward?
Yes.
Okay. You see this little boy playing with blocks, and Jack is sitting on the floor of what looks to be some type of apartment. He's younger than he is now, and Jack, that is. And as they're playing on the ground, you see the little boy reach for a stuffed bunny across the room, and it floats into his hands, and he doesn't pay it any mind. But you see Jack's eyes widen as he watches it track across the floor, just hovering above there into his son's hand. And there's a flash. And the little boy is older now, perhaps 5. and he is stacking blocks without touching them as he just concentrates, holding his little bunny. And Jack leans over and he says, "Now, Benjamin, this is our secret, remember?" And the little boy looks up, and with those innocent eyes that are just like Jack's, only clearer, he says, "Yes, Daddy, I understand." A flash. Jack is screaming at an older woman. "What the hell do you mean you told the doctor about Benjamin? I don't give a good goddamn if you're his godmother or grandmother or not. You put his life in danger." Flash. You see Jack choking Joseph Dietrich. And as he's choking Dietrich, his fingers are digging into the flesh around his neck, and around him, the apartment that you saw earlier is burning. And as he's choking him, you can see that Jack also has a wound in his side, what appears to be a gunshot wound. And he finally, you can see the windpipe of Dietrich give, and you can see Jack's eyes light as he knows he has finally crushed the life from this guy. And he crawls over across this burning room with ashes and embers floating by, and you see him crawling towards a small form. And as he gets there, he grabs hold of the side and he pulls the form over, and you see the face of Benjamin, who is gone, and he's holding the little stuffed bunny. And you see Jack lean back and he screams in a wail absolute. And you feel Jack's hands on your wrist as he pulls you back, and you're in the Ugly Duckling. And he says, "That's enough, Miss Ives." I'd like you to roll one more sanity check for me.
Extreme success.
Kate, you saw a shaking between the two of them. You saw a tear go down Jack's face, and you saw him rip their hands apart with his free hand. And he says, "That's enough, Miss Ives." And he looks at Sabella, and he looks back at Kate, and he says, "The team needs a leader, and I'm just the guy behind the desk."
Kate's silent for a long moment, and her eyes kind of occasionally dart over to Sabella, trying to get a grip on or a grasp of where she's at or what she's feeling in all of this.
Sabella looks like hurt. There's a tear running down her eye that exactly mirrors Jack's. Like, that fell at the same time and everything. And she looks at Kate and goes, "I think I'd like to help a little longer. If you'd like to help a little longer."
Well, Jack, if that little stunt of yours was supposed to build my trust, then you're not even as smart as I thought you were, and I did not have that high an opinion of your intelligence to begin with this morning, as you're well aware. I don't like being manipulated, sir.
I'm not.
Just don't. Don't.
How about this, Miss O'Callahan? One last mission. Just the three of us.
Jack,
Nah, it's right here in town.
Damn it, Jack, shut up. I'm not negotiating with you. I'm staying. You knew that the moment you reached out and grabbed her by the hand.
Yes, I did.
But there's going to be some changes around here.
Yes, there is.
Then I think that means you and I have a few things we need to discuss.
Yes, it does. We still have a stop to make, though.
Come on, we can get lunch or, something more friendly than what I am just feeling from the general atmosphere in the room, not through any psychic abilities. Just the vibe. Dinner, pastrami sandwich. After we do this. I'm not sure what time it is actually. I've just been inside for the past 2 days, so.
It'll be around. It'll be maybe a late lunch or an early dinner.
Lunch is on you, Jack.
He puts his hat back on. It always is. And he goes over and he steps out of the ugly duckling and he turns back to both of you and he says, "Finally did it, Kate. I found an Olympian before Hitler. She's right here in Harlem. Let's go." He turns around and starts walking towards his car.
Kate grabs her flight jacket off of the navigator's chair, takes a look around the duckling for a moment, and then looks to Sabella. "After you, Miss Ives."
Sabella throws her gloves on and grabs Kate and skips a bit to catch up.
Jack's pretty, on the drive over, Jack's pretty chipper, if you will. For somebody that has just gone through what he's gone through, it's if he's, Jack's not a big believer in psychiatry, but if he were, he would realize that this is, a little couch comfort that he's kind of inadvertently given himself. As you guys are driving into Harlem, specifically the triple intersection of St. Nicholas Avenue, 7th Avenue, and 116th Street,
Oh, yeah.
he explains the following, that he has found a 9-year-old girl by the name of Ruby Foster. And Ruby Foster is unknown to Hitler. And it was somebody that he discovered using his own detective skills. He didn't involve anybody else in the government. It was just Jack. And he found out that this, by word of mouth and rumor, that this little girl living on 116th Street had the ability to heal people. She possessed the ability to touch them and cure disease, to touch them and cure physical wounds. The only person that he did say he confided in after he had identified Ruby was Einstein. And Einstein said that he actually theorized that she may actually be able to use these powers on herself, and perhaps already is. He says that she may very well be someone that cannot age, as age itself is a disease. And she may very well be an immortal. Jack's kept his eyes on Ruby. He didn't want to draw any attention to her, but he also didn't want to ruin her life with her parents. But after the attacks that have occurred, he wanted to make sure that he got her and her family someplace safe. And that's why he's bringing the two of you. And as you guys pull up in front of an apartment building at the corner of St. Nicholas Avenue, 7th Avenue, and 116th Street, you are gifted with Harlem in the age of its Renaissance. There is music playing from throughout the quarter. There are games of all kinds being played by the kids in the street as stickball is becoming in vogue. And the entire place, from the parks to the streets, speaks of an age of enlightenment not seen in quite some time. It is the age of a culture that is finally allowed to spring forth, and it is glorious to behold. And as you guys get out and go up towards the apartment building, you go all the way up to the 3rd floor, and Jack looks over at 3B and goes to knock. And as this is Pulp Cthulhu, the door swings open. And Jack's eyes go wide.
No.
What would you guys like to do?
What? No. You're muted, Allison.
Yeah, I'm a fucking mess over here tonight. Jack's eyes go wide in a shocked sort of way.
Extreme shock.
Kate's got her 45 out before they hit sort of peak shock. And kind of waiting to see what comes next.
Yeah, I'm trying to see past him.
Yeah.
Okay, spot hiddens then.
No.
Also, no.
Okay, so you guys look in. I will tell you this, that
His hat is blocking my view.
all right, the apartment is dark. It appears that the shades have been drawn, but you can make out the fact that it looks like it has been tossed.
No.
There are books, and it appears to be askew furniture and cushions off the couch. You would have to go in to see more, though. And
Yep.
Jack has pulled a revolver out. It looks to be a 38. He's pulled out of his under a side holster.
Isabella stands in front of Kate. Actually, after all that, she stands in front of her. And is Jack going in? I'll go in if he's going in.
Yeah, Jack goes in.
Oh, I go in with him in front of Kate, keeping her behind me. I'm trying real hard.
Yeah, because that's good. Because had I been able to speak before you,
No, never.
I would have said that Kate runs in. But if that's not possible at this point,
If
Well-
you allow this, it is happening.
Miss Ives,
Just be careful. I feel like, just stay safe. Okay, come on, let's go.
Does Kate have her new companion with her?
her new. Oh yes, she does. Of course she does. Of course she does.
Is that out, or are you just going with your 45 right now?
Yeah, I don't want to retcon it. It's in a satchel that she carries with her, but because it's so new, she just naturally reaches for the 45 first.
Okay. And for those of you watching on YouTube, the item in question that we were talking about is an artifact that Kate found in Bolivia, which by all intents and purposes is a snake gun that shoots magic. That's about as far as we've gotten so far. But that's on her person as well. That's her 45. Okay, as you guys go in, Jack has his gun out as he braces it up and he's looking around. When you guys get in there, you see that this entire place has been, like I said, tossed. You're not sure. There's no rhyme nor reason to it. It mirrors a burglary attempt, but there are obviously inexpensive things that have been tossed as well. You know, books on the bookshelf. You know, thieves usually don't go after, you know, your copy of Moby Dick, but those are tossed and opened and things like that. The entire place seems to be ransacked. You will also notice that there is a cigarette smoking in what looks like a child's toy, maybe like a child's teacup or something, and it's smoking on the table. What would you guys like to do? I will give you options to spot, hidden, or listen again. Only one, though.
Well, before she does anything else, Kate kind of turns toward Jack a little and says, "Third time's a charm, I guess, isn't it, Jack?"
Oh.
I hope so, Miss O'Callahan.
I'll take that spot hidden now. God damn it.
I don't.
Not even
wanna-
close.
I don't want a spot hidden, Greg.
Do you want to listen?
No,
you gonna do something else?
I was. Oh, look at that smoking cigarette and that child's toy.
Go for it.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah, everybody cover your face.
Yeah, seriously.
Power roll?
Psychometry.
Okay.
I think it's the same for you, though. Whatever.
Yeah, it is. Success.
Okay, so as soon as you touch the cigarette, like as you're walking kind of past Jack, he puts his hand out for a second to stop you, and then he realizes what you're doing. And he pulls it back as he watches, because this is one of the first times he's actually seen you do something, because he wasn't present when it happened to him. And as you touch the cigarette, you get a flash. It's a surface flash because this wasn't possessed long by the person that had it, as cigarettes aren't really long-term possessions.
No, but I feel like I know what I'm looking for.
Well, it's a good thing too, because what you see, you know fairly well, because you saw this woman on the USS Akron as the waitress. And you see her putting the cigarette out in the child's toy, as in the background, this hazy figures. You see two kind of hazy figures tossing the apartment that you're currently in.
I drop it and I look at Jack. I'm so sorry, Jack.
What'd you see, Miss Ives?
One of the disguised people, one of the ones I thought we took care of on the USS Akron, the woman was here with some others. I don't know. I didn't see a little girl though. Maybe if I look amongst some of her toys, maybe I can get a better read. But they've been here, Jack. It was them already.
All right, maybe they missed something. Let's look around. Miss Ives, you do your thing, and we'll look around.
Yeah.
At this point, as you guys start to look around, Kate, you notice that somebody from across the hallway outside in 3A looks across the hall, and you see half of a woman's face, and her eyes grow wide as you see recognition. And you hear the door closes and the chain draws, and you see African-American woman look out, young, maybe 19, 20 years old. She looks out and she goes, "My God, that is you. You're Caitlin O'Callahan. You're the pilot." What are you doing here?
Kate holsters her sidearm and walks to meet her as close to the doorway of the apartment that we're in as I can. I want to keep her out of there if that's possible. Well, that's right. I am. As a matter of fact, America's Flying Sweetheart. That's me. And she holds out a hand to take her hand. And you are?
Syl Jefferson. And she takes your hand and kind of looks past you, but she sees you can tell that she sees the tossed room because it's very hard not to cover it all up. But she looks back at you, and you see a measure of respect that goes beyond meeting somebody famous, somebody from the magazine, somebody that she's seen in newspapers. And she says, "Are you in charge?"
Well, not. Well, I suppose that I am. Syl, I suppose that I am.
At this point, you can see into her apartment, and you see stacks of aeronautics books. You see portraits and paintings of skylines and bright blue sky, and you see wooden models of aircrafts of all shapes and sizes. And as she sees your eyes go over the corner into her, she kind of looks a little sheepish, and They're still here. The ones that were in the Foster's apartment, they're still here.
Still, you mean the Fosters are still here?
No, they're gone. They wouldn't tell me where they were going, but the Reverend and his wife, they took Ruby and they left about a day ago. They said they were going on a mission.
Stop. Shh. The people who did this are still here.
Yes.
Kate draws her revolver again. Sil, tell me where they are.
They went up. They're on the roof.
All right, now, listen, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back in your apartment, lock the door, close the windows, and lock them too. And you just stay there until... Well, you just stay there until it sounds safe out here, all right?
We have a common phone. Should I call the police?
That would be a fine idea, I believe, Sil.
Okay, Miss O'Callahan. And you see her, she kind of exits the hall going towards what looks to be a communal living space. And you see her kind of disappear, and you hear a handle come up on a phone as you hear her talking to a switchboard.
All right. Now, as she's doing that, I'm call back into the apartment. Sil, now, when you get off the phone, you come back out here and lock this door, and then I'm back into the other apartment. Miss Ives? Jack?
Just rifling through a child's toys. Yeah?
They're still here. They're on the roof. Well, what are you waiting for? Let's go.
Okay. Yeah. Do they have the girl?
I don't think so. I don't think so, Miss Ives. Jack, come on now.
Jack comes out of the back room. And what's going on?
Some Nazis are bad at their jobs, Jack.
They're still here, Jack. They're on the roof. We gotta go. Let's go.
All right. And he's behind Kate, following her.
Yup.
How many flights up to the roof?
1. It's a 4-story.
Damn it. Is the door to the roof open or closed?
It is a little bit open.
Mr. Keeper, sir, before we go up there, how many days has it been? By the way, for no reason.
How many days has it been since
Bolivia? No,
This would be the third day.
This would be the third day, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's all. Not worried about anything. Great. Let's go.
As she's running up the stairs, Kate just barely breaks stride, but she she even snaps her fingers, remembers something. She holsters the .45 and reaches into that satchel and pulls out that kind of gleaming snake-like thing.
And as soon as you pull it out, you don't hear anything, but you sense this relief. And as you grip it with that kind of crossbar grip that it has, where the snake heads come off of your knuckles, the metallic tails wrap around your forearm tightly, but they don't hurt. Mm-hmm. As it embraces you and the green eyes light up. We had a donation come in from Steve, I believe. Steve, put in chat what that was for. I couldn't read it, buddy, when it came through. The New York skyline is no bueno for reading things. I'm learning. Okay, so as you guys go up, I'm assuming Kate's going first.
That's a good assumption.
That's a great one.
And then
Sabella's in heels, sir.
And then Jack, and then Sabella.
Yeah.
Okay. Kate, what would you like to do? Are you gonna slow it open? Are you gonna do a listen? Are you anything and everything is on the table here?
Sure.
Yeah, because that's exactly what Caitlin O'Callahan would do. She'd take it really slow and easy, kind of weigh out all her options. No, she flies through the door if it's partly open. And as soon as she's back out in daylight, is looking for targets.
As you like kick open or shoulder open the door and explode out onto the top, Jack goes, "Son of a bitch!" and he runs out after, not expecting any of that. He hasn't been in the field yet with Kate, so he's not necessarily
Jack!
right. So Jack's a beat behind Kate. Kate, when you explode into the sunlit roof of this Harlem apartment building on 116th Street, you see the following. You see 3 men. None of them appear to be Dietrich or anybody that you have met or recognized before. And you see the woman that was the waitress on the USS Akron. They appear to be looking towards the sky as if waiting for something. They also were not expecting Kate O'Callahan to burst out of the room or the door behind them. No weapons are drawn, as you have the option of shooting 2 and or 3 of these people right now.
Whew. All right. So as her eyes come into focus, she sees the 3 men. She sees the woman, yes, right, that I do recognize.
You do recognize her, yes.
Yeah, okay, so she sees her as well. And she levels that serpent gun at the woman specifically and says, "Now, darling, I wouldn't make any fast moves if I were you. Tell you what, why don't you just step back over here toward this stairwell? We can have a little talk."
You see all 3 of the men as one turn and look at her. And as she's standing there, and you have a clear shot on her. It's not like they're in front of her, but they're kind of staggered around her. You see her look at them, and she reaches for her pocket.
How far away am I from her?
Not far, maybe 20 feet.
Am I close enough that I imagine I could sprint across and grapple her before she could pull out whatever it is that's in her pocket?
You are definitely close enough to roll a dex check for that.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
okay. What if I just burned a crit here?
Seems super.
If you want to burn a crit here, what I will allow you to do is I will allow you to get to her and do whatever you want to her if you want to burn a crit here.
Steven says it was a crit for me and Kate.
Okay, so you guys mark. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
But you guys marked down that you each have a crit from Dwight, who is.
Thank God, I wasn't worried.
And you guys can also carry those over to the Sunday game as well.
You know, when I got the first one, I was thinking, I'm gonna just save these up for a while, because there's gonna come a moment when I'm really gonna wish that I had a bunch of crits around. And I'm not. I'm totally gonna burn it here. So I'll take that crit, and what I'd like to do is, I'd like to get around behind her if I can, and have that serpent gun right up to her temple. And then into her ear from behind. "Now, darling, I said, don't make any sudden moves. Tell your boys here to stand down, and let's go have a talk."
She is amazed at how quickly Kate closed the distance on her, as she diverted her attention just for a second to reach into her pocket. And the next thing she knows, this serpent gun is pressed up against her temple, as Kate is now not only not in front of her, she's somehow behind her. And for Jack and Sabella, this is even more impressive, as it looks as if Kate is moving faster than any human being you've ever seen move before. She blurs. It becomes such a speed and such a whip that the wind itself and even the sounds of New York kind of die away for a second, as this singular moment occurs where she just is there. Gun, not breathing hard, not panting, not perfectly calm, gun to her head. And you see the woman turns, and while she can't make eye contact with Cait, her words are for Cait. You know I will not give up. That is not our way, Miss O'Callahan.
You know, I'm just a country girl from Arizona. I don't know much. I tell you what I don't know. I don't really know much about what this gun does. I've actually fired it a couple of times. In fact, I'm not even quite sure where the trigger is on this thing, but I don't know. How lucky are you feeling today?
Roll a persuasion check for me.
Oh, God.
Okay.
And then I'd like to do something after you're done. Get it.
You know, I'm hovering over the button. And then I'm remembering I do have that other crit.
Just destroy her. Sorry.
Yeah. And, you know, I gotta, you know, I hate to get too meta here, but I'm also just thinking about the boys back at the ministry in Berlin and how really, really upset it might make them if this operative were captured in the field. And that just pleases me. I think I'll burn the other crit on this persuade, Greg.
That's amazing.
Okay, so as you burn this other crit, this woman's eyes, Sabella and Jack see this more than Cait does. Cait, you would feel her body go rigid as she believes every word that you've just said. That she legitimately thinks that you don't know how to use this gun, that you don't know exactly what type of power this thing wields, and that this cavalier attitude that's coming out, whether she's interpreting it as truly cavalier, which is dangerous in and of itself, or as a mask for deadly serious, you're not sure. But however she's taking it, she is a steeled veteran who is terrified. And you see her eyes widen, her throat swallows for a moment, and she slowly pulls her hand out of her pocket.
Uh-huh.
And raises them up.
Miss O'Callahan, may I approach?
Sabella, of course.
Thanks. Jack, can you... the three guys are all, like, frozen uniformly.
They're frozen in the exact same posture, and they're all looking at the woman.
Sure. I'd love to go up and... Oh, what's this in your pocket? Is it a little silver disc?
It is a little silver disc.
Greg. Oh, I'm so happy. All right.
Are you going to touch it?
Not with my bare hands, Greg. I don't know how it works, do I? No, I do not.
Okay, so you pull it out of her pocket, though, with your gloves on.
Yes, like just around the edge. I've seen her use it before.
You have? From a distance. You saw her from a distance, yeah.
So I want to be very careful. And like, I want to not do anything that she was doing. I just want to get it away from her.
Okay, so you like kind of pull it out and take a couple steps away from her?
Yeah.
Okay, you pull it out. Nothing happens. There's no flesh to item contact.
Good.
As you take a couple steps back, 3 heads go and follow you.
Oh my word.
And you, Cait, you feel the woman in your arms who's very rigid. You see her chin and gaze drop as she realizes whatever plan she had is now over. I'd all like you both to roll a listen check for me too, please.
Yes, sir.
We need to get out of here.
Probably.
I'm so glad I burned those crits because I have not rolled a single success tonight.
Do you want me to use mine, Cait? Because I'd do it for you.
I know you would. I think I got a feeling I know what's coming.
Oh, sure. I think I do too. Nope, I'm not gonna do it.
Uh-uh.
I think I know what I'm listening for too.
No, because I know what my next. I know what my next move is anyway.
Okay, I trust you.
Jack's got his gun still on the three that apparently are not being held at gunpoint and are now looking at Miss Ives, totally not understanding what's going on. Jack has his gun out and he's like, "Step back, Miss Ives. Step back."
Sure. I think this is what they used. This is what they've been using to control people, to make them do what they want. These might not even be Nazi boys. These might just be Americans, right, Miss Waitress, ma'am?
Now,
Yeah.
as you're talking, and you did that, as you were talking, they were all going like this, as back and forth, following the disc.
I'm sorry, boys.
They all just kind of stop and focus in on you as soon as you kind of.
Oh no, I looked
And
it up.
since at this point, Kate, the Nazi, and Sabella are facing Jack, and Jack is facing you all. You see Jack's eyes go up, and he says, "What in God's name is that?" And he pulls his gun up, just as you see a sphere land on the roof in a gout of green flame as it lands and touches down lightly onto the roof of this apartment building in Harlem.
God damn it.
On 116th Street.
We should go.
Well, as Kate, in response to Jack, Kate saying, "Well, Jack, you didn't think she's coming up here to sun herself, did you? I mean, look at her. She's pale as a ghost. We need to get out of here right now."
I'd like to go now, please.
You see Jack moving towards the pod.
No.
What the hell's in there?
I grab him.
Yeah.
Nope.
Jack, it is time to go, my friend. Let's go.
There's a
No.
as the pod begins to kind of crack, and the top part slides open,
No. I don't want to see it. Can we please go?
and it's empty inside.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Kate tightens her grip on her new friend, and says, well, look at that. There's your ride, but it's just a little bit late. You know, I heard some things about how they keep the trains running in Germany, but these ride pods, they're running a little bit behind, I think.
She's silent.
Oh, I think you broke her, Kate.
It wasn't really for her anyway, Greg.
Real quick. Oh, I think we should put something sassy in there. If I take a step, I think so too. If I take a step back, do the boys come with me? Like, do they step toward me?
No, their eyes follow you though.
Okay.
I'd say, you know, kind of reading Sabella's mind. Jack, now don't touch anything on that. But listen, you got a notepad or something, don't you? That you're an investigator or whatever you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
what's going on?
Would you, Jack, just take a letter for me here, would you?
We told you about the ride pods, Jack. Did you not believe us?
Not really.
Jack. I
Puts his
smacked
gun away and.
hat.
God damn it! Oh, yeah, he reaches in, he pulls out a little kind of a bound and wrapped notebook. It's more like a collection of papers kind of twined together, and he says, "Yeah."
Yeah. So just write this. Just write, "Dear Mr. Dietrich."
And his eyes narrow when you say that name.
Oh. We don't have to gloat so much. Kate, maybe, this is awkward. This is really awkward.
Dear Mr. Dietrich, I'm so sorry that your friend is not able to join you. She'll be spending some time with us. I'm looking forward to getting to know her better. Most sincerely yours, Caitlin O'Callahan.
P.S. Isabella says hi.
P.S. Miss Ives says hello.
Miss Ives says hello.
How does it feel to be a failure? You can put that too.
All right, now just tear that off, and I want you to real gently like sit it on the seat. I think it should be fine. Don't touch anything over there.
Don't touch anything, Jack.
God damn, you have me scared. All right. He
Yeah.
folds it, and he just kind of drops it in. He pulls his gun back out as he's looking at it. And Kate, in your arms, you feel her slump, and the top of the pod goes. Another gout of green flame, and it lifts off into the sky. And in 1933, over an apartment building in Harlem on 116th Street, Caitlin O'Callaghan, with some help from Sabella Ives, lets the Ministry of the Occult know that the game has started. And ladies and gentlemen, that is where we will end this bonus episode of Pulp Cthulhu.
Oh my goodness.
We are trouble. I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty delicious.
Just to remember too, Lauren, you have a crit left for Sabella as a gift from Dwight, so keep that in mind. And I will briefly tell everyone that if you like this little bonus episode, whether you're watching on Twitch live or on YouTube later, there will be another bonus episode in this sequential inner episode one-shots. Tomorrow night around 11 o'clock, we will have a two-shot, which will be a team-up between Dr. Greta Von Krause and our very own Dwight Burke as they return to the USS Akron. We'll see how that goes. But that's neither here nor there, because tonight, America's Flying Sweetheart called her shot.
That was so good.
So, Lauren, give us some outros, and then we will go to Allison for final outros. Well, a little different this time.
I'm Lauren. I'm that salty ginger on Twitter. I DM on Encounter Roleplay on Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time in a homebrew campaign. And that was so much fun. I'm going to talk like this all week. That was so much fun. Oh, it made me so happy. I'm delighted. I'm delighted and terrified. But that felt good. That felt good. That's me.
Excellent. Great. Allison, it looks like Caitlin O'Callaghan's back in 1933.
Yeah, it looks like she is. That was incredible. It was just absolutely amazing. Amazing story, Greg, as always. And just so delicious. And as much, I gotta say, I love the big win, right? I love the big win in sort of the second half.
Yeah.
The first half, though, is what's gonna keep me awake tonight, and probably what's gonna keep me writing another 5,000 words of Caitlin O'Callaghan backstory, forward story, whatever this week. And Lauren, oh my God. That's like basically the most amazing role playing I've ever seen.
Stop it.
I was not
blush.
I was not prepared. I'll
get you every time.
It's one thing to be manipulated in game. It's another thing to kind of be manipulated both in game and out of game, and you're not quite sure. I just love you both. Yeah, don't play innocent. Either one of you. Either one of you.
We did not conspire on anything, I swear, Alice.
No, we didn't. I will tell you this, though. Going back and listening to the exchange between Sabella and Jack, I didn't want you to hear it for the rest of this episode, but you can go back and because there were other Olympians in chat, so go back and feel free.
Yeah.
several things in there kind of came forward after, which I thought was kind of interesting. So.
Yeah,
That is pretty cool. Good. I'm looking forward. I was going to ask about that. Good.
Freak
So
out.
all that is to say, I'm so very grateful to be a part of this amazing endeavor. And you can find me on Twitter basically all the time at Allison Robinson with 2 L's and a Y. And you can catch me on a couple of really great podcasts like Wander Quest with a new episode coming out this week, and God's Fall, where it has just recently been revealed that Ariskatane is none other than the god of chaos. You think Cait is unpredictable? Wait till you hear me play the god of chaos. So tune in for that as well. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody.
That is absolutely awesome. Everybody, thanks for watching us, whether it's on Twitch or on YouTube. To play with these people, that's why I have bonus episodes. If you don't like your players, you never want to play the game. I want to live in 1933 with these people. They often kid me and say that I'm trying to kill them. Nope. I want a story, I want it a certain way, and I love when they beat me at every conceivable turn and do something 20 times cooler than I thought was going to happen. This is great. This is one of my favorite things I've ever done creatively. Please join us on Sundays on this very channel from 7 to 9 for our normal show. It should be interesting because the title of Sunday's show is To Save an Olympian.
Oh, God.
And please join us tomorrow night around 11 o'clock for another one of our bonus episodes as Laugh Love Lindy and the Stinker One Steve go in as Dr. Greta Von Krause and Dwight Burke and have their own little bit of madcap adventures that not only plays into the main narrative, but also into one Elijah Sawyer's narrative. We've got some threads getting pulled here, kids. But until that time, please take care of yourselves. In 2018 now, we'll be here in 1933 waiting for you. Bye-bye.
Suck it, Dietrich!